Hey guys, my name is Gabby. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be filming my most surprising books of 2019. And this video is going to be the first video in a series of 4 videos. That's going to be my most surprising of the year, my most disappointing of the year, my best of the year, and my worst of the year. I guess what I mean by most surprising books is that these are all books that I either went into thinking nothing of it, like I didn't really have any expectation going into these books, or maybe I just picked them up on a whim and didn't really think much of it. It's always really great going into a book with absolutely zero expectations and then loving the hell out of it. Like I feel like that's one of the best things in reading is when you can find books that really surprise you with how amazing they are and stuff like that. So that's pretty much what all these books are going to be about today, and some of these books might overlap with my favorites of the year. Let's jump right into it! So the first one, and probably the most surprising book that I read this year, is Scythe by Neil Shusterman, because I really just picked this book up on a whim when I did my reading books outside of my comfort zone video, and I legit went into this thinking that I would not like this because I had been so disappointed by everything else that I was reading that week, and I thought that video is gonna be like a totally failed effort. This book was freaking incredible. It was a 5-star book for me. I read the second book in the series and I'm highly anticipating reading the third book. I am not really interested in young adult dystopian sci-fi fantasy books, but this book was freaking incredible. Biggest surprise of 2019 to me. Like, I cannot believe how much I'm obsessed with this book and this world now. And if you didn't know like anything about what this book's about, it basically takes place in a very futuristic world where humans are now immortal and they can live forever, and so they have to have these people called Scythes who go out there and randomly kill people in order to control their population growth. One of my most recent surprises that I just read is The Bromance Book Club by Lisa K. Adams. I don't know why, for some reason I went into this one thinking that I wasn't really going to enjoy it because I'm not a huge fan of second chance romance novels. Like those just never really interest me because like I really like to see the beginning of the relationship, and I don't really care about couples getting a second chance. I just don't care as much usually. But this one is about this baseball player who is on the brink of divorce with his wife, and then he joins this bromance book club in order to understand his wife better by reading romance novels, and it's about him trying to get his wife back. And this book was just so freaking cute, and I did not think that I would love it as much as I did. Like, these two characters are so freaking cute, and this family is freaking so cute. I just didn't expect to love it as much as I did, and it was great. One book that I picked up with very little expectation and very little knowledge about was Birthday by Meredith Russo. I actually got this one sent to me as an art copy because Flatiron Books just reached out and they were like, do you want a copy of this book? And I was like, sure. And I just didn't think that this book would hit me the way that it did, because this book follows these two characters named Morgan and Eric, and they were both born on the same day and they're best friends. This story follows them from their 13th birthday until their 18th birthday, but it follows them in snapshots of their lives, and we only read about them on their birthdays every year, which is really cool. And one of the characters is trans. This book freaking emotionally gutted me, and it was a 5-star book for me, and I just was not expecting to love this and to get my heart ripped out the way that I did. Like, it was so good. One of my favorites of the year. Another book that I was incredibly surprised by is Pet Sematary by Stephen King, because I actually only picked up this Stephen King in particular because my friend Zoe over at Zoe Reads made this reading vlog in October called Reading Stephen King in the Dark, and she was reading this book, and after watching that vlog, I just really had the urge to read this book, and so I ended up reading it at the end of October as well. And I loved it so much. Like, this is easily my new favorite Stephen King novel, and because I read this book in October, it's made me want to go out there and read all the rest of Stephen King's novels, because I'm hoping that one of them will be as good as this one. I really loved the story of the family throughout the book, and then by the end, it was just getting so creepy and so weird, and like, this is everything that I want in a horror novel. It's just so good. So I was not expecting to love this one when I did, because before that, I had been kind of like disappointed, or just the other Stephen King books that I had read before this one had never lived up to the hype that I created for them in my head, you know? But this one, it was different because I really went in with like no expectation, and it was just so freaking good. The next book that really surprised me is All We Ever Wanted by Emily Giffin, because I literally went into this book not even knowing anything about it. I just saw that the library had the audiobook available, so I was like, oh, I'll just check it out and listen to it. And I had no idea what this book was even about when I started it. And this book freaking blew me away. This was a 5 5-star book for me. I freaking cried while I was listening to the audiobook. I don't know, this book kind of reminds me of those books like Little Fires Everywhere, or like just those books that have such a moving like prose, like the writing is beautiful and you really like connect with the characters and the family and everyone involved in the situation, you know? And I feel like this book really points out privilege and how it's unfair when like rich people can like cover up their lives and like the things that are going wrong in their lives with money when other people just don't have options like that. Oh my god, this book is so great, and it was just so surprising. Like, I literally had no idea what it was about, and I was just blown away by how much I loved this. Another book that I was pretty impressed and surprised by is Where the Forest Meets the Stars. And this one, I actually only picked this book up because a subscriber actually commented on one of my videos and they said that they thought I would really enjoy this book because it reminded them of The Humans. So I kind of just picked this up on a whim, like not really knowing much about it and not really having any expectations. And this book also blew me away. I was really surprised by how much I enjoyed this. I will say the ending gets a little bit like, okay, like this one was like a 4-star for me or so. But I was freaking obsessed with the beginning of this book. Like, it was so good. And this is like right up my alley of the kind of books that I really enjoy, because this one follows, there's this like little girl who's kind of an alien, or she's claiming to be an alien coming to Earth. And this woman finds the little girl on her property, and the little girl said she has to witness 5 miracles on Earth before she can return back to her planet. For this whole book, you're trying to figure out if the little girl is being like truthful or not, but she keeps like revealing all these things about herself that make her seem like she's an alien. Like, she's so fascinating. She's kind of like 11 from Stranger Things or something. Like, she's just so cool. And so I just really, really loved reading this book. And then there's also kind of like a romance happening between the lady who finds the girl on the property and her neighbor. That's this guy that's like dealing with depression, and so there's like a lot of mental health rep in this as well. This was just, it was just great. I didn't expect to love this one as much as I did. Another book that surprised me by how much I enjoyed it is Miracle Creek by Angie Kim, because this was another one that I did for reading books outside of my comfort zone. And so this one I kind of went into with no expectation. I mean, I did see a lot of like really positive reviews going around for this one, so I had a feeling that it was gonna be a book that was like great. But at the same time, like, I just wasn't sure if it would be my thing, like if I would connect with it. But this book was freaking incredible, and I would definitely recommend this book to people that enjoy like literary fiction, but it also has like a thriller vibe to it because it's like a literary courtroom thriller, which is a genre I've never read before, but I would definitely be interested in checking out more stuff like this because it was just so freaking good. And this one mainly follows around this mom who's being accused of killing her 8-year-old autistic son. It's just freaking incredible. It's so moving, and I just really connected with this one. Like, I would say if you like Little Fires Everywhere or Ask Again Yes or something like that, like definitely check this one out too. One book that I read this year that I was surprised that I didn't absolutely love it is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, because Taylor Jenkins Reid is my favorite author. Like, I think she's like legit my favorite author. And so when this book was coming out, I was like legit so excited, highly anticipating this. And then I think I was kind of surprised the first time I tried to read this. I did not really enjoy this one the first time. I ended up giving it 2 stars the first time I read it, and I had tried to read it just like reading the physical copy like this, and it was so freaking hard to get into because this book is all written like interview format, so there's literally no like story going on. It's literally all the main characters just recalling the story through interviews. And so this book was just incredibly flat for me the first time I tried to read this, and I just didn't like it, and it made me sad. And then I ended up rereading this book by listening to the audiobook because, again, Taylor Jenkins Reid is my favorite author, and it was killing me that I didn't enjoy her latest release. I felt like the audiobook worked so much better than the physical format of this book, so I ended up enjoying the audiobook, but I was still just really surprised by the fact that I didn't absolutely love this book the second it was released, you know, because maybe I just had way too high of expectations, but like, I did end up enjoying the audiobook. Like, I gave the audiobook like a 4 out of 5. It still wasn't my favorite thing ever, but I can definitely appreciate the story more in an audiobook format because the characters just really come to life in that way. All right, and then the last book that I have that I thought was really surprising was If Only I Could Tell You by Hannah Beckerman. And this is one of my book of the month selections that I just randomly chose because I was like, that sounds interesting. And I had no expectations, literally didn't even know what it was about. Then I saw somebody compare this to This Is Us. And I was like, whoa, okay, like I need to read that. And so I just read it only knowing that, and I just really freaking loved this story. If you didn't know, this book is kind of about these two sisters who are adults now who are no longer speaking because of something that happened in their childhood. And so you spend a lot of this book trying to figure out like what exactly it was that happened in their childhood that made them no longer speak. And then we also follow from the point of view of their mom as she's like devastated and heartbroken and trying to get her daughters to speak again. And it's just so sad and so beautiful. And this book just really like floored me with how much I enjoyed this. I cried so hard at the end of this book. It was just amazing. And I do feel like the comparisons to This Is Us is accurate for this because it was great. All right, so those are all of the most surprising books that I read in the year of 2019. I just really look forward to any time that I have like no expectation picking up a book and then it really blows me away. Like that's one of my favorite things about reading, because like, yeah, it's great to be excited about books and then they do live up to the hype. Like that's also really great, but there's nothing like reading a book thinking you might hate it or just not really even knowing what it's about or not having any expectations, and then when you end up loving it, like that is just the best feeling ever. Let me know if you've read any of these books, what your thoughts are on them, if any of these books also surprised you this year, or what were your most surprising books of 2019. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I will see you guys soon with a new video. Bye.